All right. You guys are on time, so we can get started here. Appreciate you guys joining this morning. So today we are going to be talking about the ERA pricing tools. So I think we've done a session on these. I know it's been a while, so I actually just did a session for another company in Wyoming, and they sort of triggered me. So I knew I just wanted to talk about them with our group. This is being recorded, so obviously anything we discuss, if you want to rewatch it or if you missed it and are just watching the recording. If you have any questions, just unmute yourself, or if you have any comments, or if you've used one of these forms and kind of had it work for you, would love to hear, what you did to make it work for you. But otherwise, we're just going to go through. There's 4 of them, so we'll just spend 10 minutes or so on each, and then answer any questions at the end. So log into Leverage. And then if you go to marketing and just scroll down, you will see pricing tools. We're going to click on pricing tools. And then, so what I'm going to have to do is I will actually be just swapping back and forth from Leverage, and all of these will download in Excel. So just as long as you have a spreadsheet, you'll be able to get these. But so each one of them you'll be able to download. So of the 4, we have an absorption rate calculator, a pricing analysis grid, salability rating, and then, of course, the ERA broker commitment to service. So again, we'll go through each one of these. And what you're going to do is write pricing analysis suite. You'll see all 4 of them here. And then all you have to do is just download. So if you want to do a particular one at a particular time, just come in and download it. Obviously, if you do download them, it'll be on your hard drive, in your system, on your zip drive, where, whatever you do with it. And then if you just choose to, you can work on one and save it as maybe, a client's name or something, and kind of always have the one you downloaded. So you don't, if you download all 4 of them, you don't necessarily need to come into Leverage at that point and kind of re-download them. They'll all just be sitting somewhere in your computer, and you can just go choose it. And ideally you use the original one, and then when you're kind of ready to finish it, save as Tim Jones or whatever, and then you always have the original, plus you always have everyone that you actually do from that point. So just some thoughts there. So we're going to actually start with the absorption rate calculator. So I'm actually just going to download. And then I'm going to open it up, and I'm just going to, as soon as I know that it opened. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm just going to reshare. So I'll just kind of be doing this throughout the session. So here is the absorption rate calculator. So what this does is kind of tells us really, these are labeled pricing tools for a reason. So each one of these will sort of help us guide a seller in pricing properly. So that's kind of what each one of these tools is, except for with the exception of the broker commitment to service, that when we get to it, that's just plain getting them to commit to you and not being fearful to sign a contract for 6 months or whatever. But so this absorption rate calculator, and it's self-explanatory. How long will it take you to sell your house? So what this is going to do is compare the price range, how many properties are on the market, how many properties in that price range have sold. So we're going to do this very quick, but we'll obviously you would fill this out for a client. So now we're going to say this is kind of obviously someone's interested in potentially listing, it's a $300,000 house. So I'm just going to put 300 just to have that as a number. So when I put 300 in and hit tab, so what it automatically did, and I didn't do that, it just took 10% above, 10% below. So it's like, okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go to the MLS and do a little homework. And it's asking you, it's asking you for the data, so we don't have to guess. So we're going to actually go the number of houses for sale in your area price range today. So if this is in, Cincinnati, in a certain, Anderson Township in Cincinnati, I'm going to go to the MLS and I'm going to do a search, like how many homes are for sale from 270 to 330 right now in the general area, in the price range, period. Because we think we're not going to actually get into, we could, but not necessarily based on 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot. We're kind of like, hey, if someone's out there looking for a $300,000 house, how many choices do they have? There could be a 2-bedroom house, there could be a 7-bedroom house, but it's just kind of in general. So I'm going to keep these generic as well. I'm going to just say there are 4. And then the second question, number of houses that sold in your area price range in the last 6 months. So it's the same idea. So go to the MLS now and do the same criteria that you did. If you did break it down to bedrooms, baths, cool. If you, kept it generic, this is going to be the same exact search, but obviously we're going to do solds. So let's say we just had 3 solds. And again, totally just throwing these numbers out. But now you're actually going to see this, it's an Excel spreadsheet. It's got calculations built in. I'm not going to do anything else, but I put in a price, estimated price, number of homes for sale, number of homes that sold. And now when I tab out of this one, you're going to see it did a calculation. And this is kind of where we're going to do a little homework with the seller so that they can, kind of see that pricing your home is important. So today there are 4 houses for sale. In this market, the average number of homes that sell per month is 1. So that means there's 8 months supply. So probability your home will sell in 1 month, 12.5%. And then of course it goes up. By 12 months, it's 80%. Now, obviously we know this is, they could have the perfect $300,000 house. It'll sell in 2 days. These numbers could be, I just threw them in there. Like, in today's market, these couldn't, well, they could be higher, they could be lower. I mean, the number of homes for sale could be low because, there's low inventory in a particular market, and maybe when one comes on, it sells. So, they could be totally flipped. But the idea is, so you do this for one, for a client, they have 123 Main Street. What if they, these numbers kind of would stay the same? What if they said, well, I want a price at 325, because they're just like, let's just try it, so then it, if all the calculations stayed the same, maybe they would change a little bit. Does this number change down here? Or if we priced it at 280, man, we could be the best 280 house out there. Would it increase the saleability of this property? Maybe the numbers change in the percentages become more attractive. So that's really the idea behind the absorption rate calculator is just one of the 3 tools that are designed to help you sell the home. So, and this one happens to just be gauged around price and activity in the market. Because, let's just say this went, so, say that there's limited price, limited inventory in the 280 price range, and more properties sell when it comes on. Well, look, the 1 month went from 12.5 probability of selling to 41, and then 80 at 3 months. So it's just a great tool to kind of play around with. If you if you have that seller that's questioning price, or is more motivated or less motivated, I mean, you can just kind of play with this. So if you do it, if you do it once, if you're kind of playing around with it prior to getting to the property, you know, just as you're doing your CMA, it's great to know how many, you know, what is the absorption rate? What is the probability of selling if, you know, if you just have the average $300,000 house and there are three other average $300,000 houses, we don't know which one a buyer will gravitate to. Maybe you have a yard, but the buyers that are out there are looking for an updated kitchen, you know, so we just never know. But the idea is, you know, if I'm looking for a home, I'm going to say, I can go up to 300. I can, you know, I want to be in this neighborhood, you know, and then it's just a matter of, you know, what's the market like? How many homes are for sale? If there are two homes for sale, well, you know, if one of them is attractive to a buyer, okay, we'll sell one, but then there's another one sitting there waiting for another buyer. So this is the absorption rate calculator. Any question? I'm going to just pause after each, but again, you know, if you do have any questions kind of while I'm going through it, please don't hesitate to unmute. But any questions on the absorption rate calculator? All right, perfect. So again, I know there may have been a few that just sort of joined us a little late. To get to these, just as a quick reminder, in leverage, under marketing, go to pricing tools. So now let's just hit this down arrow. And actually, let's skip the we'll talk about the commitment to service last. Let's go to the pricing analysis grid. Again, same idea. We are, you know, we're talking price. So obviously it's called the pricing analysis grid. But let's pull this one up. Okay, I'm going to stop share. Make sure you guys can see the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so this is the pricing analysis grid. This one is a very good visual for that person. You walk in, you say, hey, I think the right price to list is 300,000. And they say, well, I want to be at 330. And you're like, okay. So now we pull up this pricing analysis grid. We're going to actually do the kind of the same thing that we did earlier. I'm just going to throw in address just to fill it in. So now we are going to go to the MLS. Really, if we've done a CMA, we have this data. We have this data just sitting there, or maybe we just want to update it. Sometimes you can do this and it helps you. Like, no, we really should be at 300. Sometimes you do this and it's like, oh, geez, maybe we could be at 320, you know, depending on what's happening in the market. Or, geez, you know what, we should be at 280, you know, that type of thing. But, this is just a form we're going to fill out based on data from the MLS. And then we're going to kind of see a little graph that will help us, sort of talk to a seller about price. So I'm going to really just throw in, a couple quick ones here. 1, 2, 3 sold for, I'm going to just do this one right on at 300. Let's do 2, 3, 4 sold for, 305. And then 3, 4, 5 sold for 290. So that's what's sold. Again, went to the MLS. This is where I would get a little more of the detail, kind of like you did for your CMA: bedrooms, baths, size of the square footage, size of the acreage, if any, that type of thing. I would kind of do it just like a CMA, because this is sort of based on really trying to price this property. So now, the same thing. We're going to do what's for sale. And I'm going to keep this simple. Obviously, some of these numbers won't necessarily always kind of, match up perfectly for us, but, it is kind of nice I'm going to just do this. So there's our properties for sale. And again, you may have one property, depending on the market. You might have 10, but fill in as much as you can. Kind of fill this in as much as you can. If it's a little stretch, or you even make a kind of like when you do a CMA, if you make an adjustment, say it sold for 350, but it had 10 acres. Well, geez, my property has one or not even an acre. You can go, okay, so I'm going to deduct it. So I'm going to kind of throw that one in this form at like it sold for 310 or 305, or so you can kind of make those adjustments and stick these in. So now did not sell. So obviously you're going to go to expireds, and if there are expireds, even if you have to go. So this one, kind of depending on your market, every market's a little different. If you go back 6 months, if you need more numbers and just more comps, and your market doesn't fluctuate a whole bunch, it doesn't really get crazy, don't be fearful to go back a year, or whatever time frame works, as long as there was, so I wouldn't go back 2 years, because then that kind of gets into when the market was crazy, or so kind of look at it, but don't be afraid to extend the time frame if it's a legitimate comp that in today's market would sell roughly the same. There was nothing happening, crazy that caused it to sell for less, or caused it to sell for a whole bunch more. It would sell for that today. Don't be afraid to use that as a comp. So now, obviously going to expireds, I'm gonna kind of embellish this a bit, but it's kind of the reason for the form. Let's just say, these are the properties that expired, obviously did not sell. Okay, so here are, so I found 3 properties for each. Again, if it's 1, go with it. If you can get 5, do that. So here are the properties, and I'm trying to price. Again, in my mind, this property should be listed at 300, and the seller's at 325, or just a number that seems like, oh boy, that's kind of extreme. So now when I just come down here to this, sort of this graph, this is kind of where you start this conversation. So, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we are I'm saying we should be priced at 300, which is right in this range. What's for sale, in the 300 range, is there's one at 295, but then there's one at 315. So I'm kind of in this, sort of middle range. And Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you want to list up here in this red. So, it's like literally, if you look at this, or kind of fill it in, or have it filled in, and then turn it around and sort of slide it in front of them. I've done it, and I've heard agents, kind of throw this in front of them and say, well, like, where do you think we should be priced? Like, you want to be up here. I'm saying we should be here. Like, can we meet in the middle somewhere? Like, do you really want to be priced like on the far end of this, red line where nothing is sold, and this property is still sitting on the market at 315? Like, can we be at 305? Can we maybe be at 310? Something like that. So it's just the idea of kind of putting a visual in front of them of what's sold similar to yours. So again, every house is a little different, and this might be the perfect house. Well, then maybe it should be at 310, 315. But hey, we're just a normal house. We're right in line with these 3. What makes us think that all of a sudden we're gonna get something in this red area as a listing price, get action, and then sell? So that's so this is the pricing analysis grid. Again, I'm going to pause for a minute. Any questions? Anybody has, that's used this form? Hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully both of these to this point make sense, and can just show again. I filled this out and it did not go in my favor. So I was like, well, I'm not going to use it. But, I mean, but again, I filled it out and then sometimes you realize like, okay, well, I was thinking three, they're at 325, like maybe 320, 315 isn't the worst number because maybe we can, hit this 305 mark instead of three and getting 295 or three, something like that. So, so kind of fill it out and then just determine, in my opinion, if you want to kind of present it to a seller to help maybe potentially persuade them to come from the 325 mark to whatever, maybe even 315 would be beneficial for us to not just be sitting out there in right field just hoping. So
Hey,
again,
Wayne,
yes.
one thing that I've used this once or twice. It's not, I haven't used it a lot, but the one time that I did use it where I think it really helped me was when I was explaining the 315 that was still on the market, was to know your days on market for
Yep.
anything that's currently for sale. Because especially if that 315 has been sitting for 30, 20, 30 days, that gives you a little bit more leverage to say this one's still for sale, but it's been out there for 30 days. So it kind of helps bring things back to where you don't want to be in that sweet spot to the left.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for bringing that up, Julia. Because an idea here is you could, while you're doing this homework, just sort of have that days on market, and you could either just, like 1, 2, 3, it's like 1, 2, 3 dash, 6,
Yeah,
and that
that's
6
exactly
is the
what I
days
did,
on
was I put
market.
it at the end. I put it in instead of the web link because
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah,
just it made more sense to me. I
yeah.
get why the web link is there, but from my perspective, it made more sense to have my days on market versus giving them a link to and they can get that from my CMA.
Yeah, no, I love it. So yeah, or even just putting it, down here on this end. So if this is a 6 and this is a 7 and this is a 10, and then this is a 2, a 7, and this one's like you said, a 18 or something, and then these have all sat, obviously these went through maybe 180 days or however long it was listed. Like, it's like, yeah, there was one priced at 315. I get it, but it's still on the market, so I love that. I appreciate you bringing that up. Days on market is definitely a great addition here, just to have that data again. The more data we have when we sit in front of these folks, not only to help us price it right, but having the days on market, like, just sort of think about all the objections that you're going to get and just have as many answers ready. The days on market would be like, well, how do I know? Well, here, this is true data. This is what it sold for. This is how long it was on the market. This is what it sold for. This is what it's priced at right now. This is how many days it's been sitting there, that type of data, along with obviously, if you do know anything about condition and things, because obviously, as we know, most sellers think their house is the ideal, it's perfect and they love it. And there's obviously a connection to it. So they think it's worth more. So, so that's always sitting out there as well, but definitely knowing days on market is a big key for this one. So love that. So this one, pricing analysis grid. Right, we're going to go back now. So back to leverage, scroll down. This time we're going to check out the saleability rating. So this is kind of just a neat form, not really to do with price, but more to do with making, just having the home, potentially more, making it more saleable, I guess. So, and you'll see if you haven't seen this, when we do take a peek at it. All right, so let me just stop, pull this one up. So as you look at this saleability rating, so this is literally, in some of this, I think I'm going to actually update one for us. and you know, kind of maybe add this. So if you guys kind of are peeking at this, or maybe have seen this for the first time, you know, maybe think of, if, you know, if we haven't used Gold Star in a while. So maybe if there's something that we can do, you know, so I'm sort of thinking like text DRA could be on here. You know, maybe a few different ideas here to sort of gauge it. But if you're looking at this, what this is going to do is basically determine, you know, there's calculations involved, like how saleable is your house. So so price is part of it, so you'll kind of see that, you know, price is part of it, but there's also, you know, a yard sign, and you know, are there, you know, are you going to allow contingencies? So is it easy to show? So I'm going to kind of just throw some numbers in here, and then just in the end we'll kind of look at a number, and then the idea is to go back and maybe see if there's anything you can do in this list to help it, you know, to kind of make it more saleable. So I'm going to say, hey, we do actually have a protection, a home warranty on it. We'll do both sides. You know, let's say that, you know, right now it'll only qualify for conventional. So I'm going to kind of quick go down through here and just put these in there. And then again, we'll and then in the end, we'll actually I'm just throwing numbers in here. And some, you know, sometimes we can't, you know, we can't help some of these. We can't help the location. I can't pick the house up and move it, you know. Um, Okay. So now you know, I filled this out, you know, after a conversation with them. I filled it out in front of them, like, hey, you know, are you going to allow me to do this? Whatever. Or I kind of know the answers. And now, you know, when I get to the end and hit tab after the final answer, I get a 20. And again, the calculations, it's in a poor position to sell. So it's like, oh goodness, like what, you know, so now I will literally just go back up here and just see if there's anything I can do right here. Is there anything that I can change to kind of increase this saleability? So I purposely left a few, you know, so they said, nope, I don't want a yard sign. Not many do, but some do. So if I can be like, you know what, yeah, I really think it would help. You know, we're on a street that, you know, we want the neighbors to see it. We want, you know, the traffic to see it. Is, you know, if you'll just let me have a yard sign, you know, so if I can convince them to do a yard sign, I come up, switch that to 1, and now we're at 21. So and then it's just a matter of kind of going through here to determine, you know, what we might be able to change, what we might be able to do. So let's say we come over here, you know what, in financing terms, like I am not owner assisting, period, but I'm going to do some trim work and qualify it for a FHA because I have some peeling paint, something. So I'm going to be able to do that. So I'm going to increase this one to 2. You know, maybe we actually do a pre-ordered appraisal, so we know exactly what the value is. I'm going to do that to 3. So now I've gotten 5 more points here, and I'm in a good position to sell. So, okay, so, you know, we're better off. We know we're priced right because we did the appraisal. You're going to allow me to put a yard sign in. We're going to touch up some paint or whatever to kind of make it FHA, you know, qualify. But that gave us a point. Now we're in a good position. And again, some of these, you know, if this was you know, a 3, you know, and then let's say it was a Gold Star, just to kind of get these numbers up where you can see that so if you get to 31 just by chance, or you know, you're able to, you're in an excellent position to sell. So like, you know, that means you know, your financing is FHA or conventional. You have a listing, they're gonna allow you to work it. So you got 180 days. We're priced close to you know, the expected to price, you know, the conditions good. So, you know, so if you were able to do that, then all of a sudden you're sitting there in excellent position to sell. So, you know, it's not, you know, I mean, available for open house. Like, no open houses. Well, if you let me do an open house, I think I can make it work. You know, that's a, you know, you could grab a point out of that one. So if there is anything that will help you, no one's going to want to look at this and see poor position. Like, you know, and again, it can be priced right. And if it's not in the best condition, it might, you know, it'll still sell. It might take a little bit, who knows? But no one's going to want to, you know, physically look at this and say, well, your house is in a poor position to sell. No, you know, so if then they're going to go up and be like, I don't know, what can we do? Like, can we paint 2 rooms? Like, you know, we don't have a bunch of money, but you know, what can we do to, you know, to get this up to at least a good position? And then let's go with it. So kind of a neat form to, you know, just kind of, if we're struggling with a seller on a few things, maybe get closer to price wise. You know, we should, you know, this should be a 2. Well, if we were closer to 300 instead of 315, we could take this to a 5 if, you know, if we were close to what I was suggesting. You know, that's a big jump. So let's just drop it 10 grand in our list price. And that'll put us in a better position. So that is the saleability rating. Any questions on that one? All right. So our last one is the broker commitment to service. So again, leverage, pricing tools. We're going to download the broker commitment to service. And once this one pulls up, I think, let's see if that actually will allow me to share, because that could, oh yeah, okay. So this one, it just kind of pulled up as a PDF. So what this one is designed to do is give a seller the ability to fire you without any penalty if you're not doing your job. So, you know, so you walk into an appointment and they're like, oh, I'm nervous to sign, or like my last agent didn't do this or said they were going to do stuff and didn't. So I want to sign a 30-day listing agreement or a 60-day instead, or 90 instead of a 180, you know, just nervous to sign. So what this form does, and you should print it out, you should read it. It is designed to, okay, so let's agree on some stuff. And you can see it right here. I am going to provide a CMA. Did you do that? Yep. You know, prepare a good faith estimate, work to develop and agree on a marketing plan, provide you with exposure. I'm going to take at least 30 photos and it's going to be within 3 days. And, you know, then they're going to be professional and things like that. After we list, I'm going to agree to contact you. How do you want to be contacted? Phone, email, text. Do you want it daily? Do you want it twice a week? Do you want to just hear from me if there's activity? Like, what do you want, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? And then you put that in there. And so you just go down through here. And if, you know, if you didn't take photos, or you took 5 photos on your phone or whatever, and just posted them, you know, they're going to be like, or, hey, what are you going to do to market this? Well, I'm going to post on social twice a week till we sell it. I'm going to, you know, whatever you're going to do, whatever you agree to do, if you do it, you're good. That's what you said you would do. If you aren't following the market plan, if you haven't talked to them in 2 weeks and you said you would, and that's their biggest pet peeve, they're going to get a hold of you and they're going to say, well, you know, you haven't contacted me. I'm not happy. What this commitment to service down here, the actual where the red starts, is you have a certain number of days to fix it. So they can't just call you up and fire you. You know, you've agreed when you filled this out that you have 3 days to fix this. So if you need to take 5 more photos, if you haven't taken the professional, if you said you were going to do a drone and haven't, you know, you have 3 days to fix it. Otherwise, they can fire you. So so it's not like they just call you up and say, you're done, I'm out, sick of it. No, they're going to call you up and, they have a chance to call, to touch base with you and say, look, I'm not happy. I haven't seen it on social. The pictures look horrible. You haven't contacted me in a week. So now you're on the hook for 3 days to fix the social postings, get the pictures done, whatever, start calling them every other day or whatever they asked to do in the first place. So really you throw this across from them and say, look, let's agree on some terms. If I'm not doing my job, I mean, this could be one day, like whatever they want to do, like I'll fix just if you actually just do your job up here, it's never going to get to them calling you up and putting you on notice. Like, you got one day to fix it. Just do your job. But the idea of putting this in writing and saying, well, if I don't do it, you could literally fire me, and you don't owe me a penny. You don't owe me any commission. You don't owe me any marketing money, but zero. You just fire me and I'm out. And whatever. So it's kind of nice to even bring this up and show that you're confident in the way I work, and I'm not afraid to sign this. I'm not afraid to sign this because I'm going to do my job. I'm going to do the photos. I'm going to follow the marketing plan. I'm going to actually contact you, however often or however you want me to. But the idea of actually having filling this out with them, coming up with the terms, everyone signs it. The broker signs it. Everyone signs it. Like it's not just it's not just like, oh, let's just sign this and it's not enforceable. Like, no, this goes all the way up to the broker, and they sign it. And at that point, we're locked in. And if I don't do my job, you fire me. So this is the broker commitment to service. So anybody have any questions? That is what I wanted to, a little bit shorter session today, which isn't bad, but what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I'm going to real quick log into Leverage, under marketing, pricing tools, scroll down. Here's all 4 of them. Here's the download button. So if you want to look, obviously if you want to download all 4 and start playing with them, but if you're ever looking for one particular one, come right down, just choose it, hit download. It'll be on your computer. 3 of them, absorption rate, pricing analysis, saleability, all open up in Excel or a spreadsheet. And then commitment to service just downloads as a PDF. So you can and it really is designed to take with you and fill out together. Like, fill out together with them. You may know the answers. I'm going to take 30 pictures. I'm going to take 50. So you may know, but actually like handwriting it in and filling it in with them is kind of the idea with it. So just having a copy of it, and it should be in your listing, just in your listing packet. It's just part of what we do. But yeah, so that just kind of is a PDF Word type document where you just kind of print it out. So that is where you find them, download them, and then of course we went through each one of them. So I will pause for a minute and just see, does anyone have any questions, anything that they want to ask or bring up? All right. Well, I will let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining today. I see Greg on there. I'm not sure if anyone else is, but prayers to all of our folks in Florida as Milton is heading that way. So if everyone would just take a second today and think about our folks down there, and of course, everyone else. Definitely prayers are with everyone. Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.
All right. See you later.
Bye.